Good evening and welcome to Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV this Christmas Eve. I hope you're having yourself a good time. We have a lot prepared for you tonight, but first let's take a look at the headlines. The late Nyamira Governor John Nyagarama laid to rest in a state funeral today as top government officials flocked Nyamira County to bid him the last respect. Doctor strike called off after Ministry of Health finally reached an agreement with KMPDU today. And tonight we bring you the 2020 roundup from our courts. My name is Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. Now we are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube we are live as Switch TV News. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Ombogo. On to the top stories tonight. Kenya Medical Practitioners and Pharmacists and Dentists Union KMPDU have called off its strike 17 days after they downed their tools. During a joint press briefing by the Ministry of Health and KMPDU, Health CS Mutahi Kagwe has promised a conducive work environment for the frontline healthcare workers. Namikene Samuel reports.
The Kenyan doctors have called off their industrial strike 3 weeks after they downed their tools.
And with that note, I would like to declare that the strike by Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has now been called off. We shall continue further engagements to follow up on all other matters that we had raised in the strike notice dated 16th of November.
And I'm also happy and excited that ultimately we have turned the corner as Kenyans. We've risen to the occasion, to the expectations of Kenyans, more so on the eve of Christmas. This is the best Christmas gift that we can give to our people.
During a joint press briefing, Kenya Medical Practitioner and Dentists Union KMPDU, acting SG Chibanzi Machonda, announced that they had settled on a win-win deal with the Ministry of Health.
Doing things, coming to a table and understanding and clearing issues. It's a win-win situation. Nobody loses and nobody loses in this kind of discussion.
I want to appeal to medical doctors, medical workers and any other Kenyan worker that the government of Kenya, the Ministry of Labor is always open for conciliation. Come to the table, we will facilitate engagement, productive engagement between employers and employees.
As the doctors called off their strike, the health sector is still shaky as clinicians and nurses are still on strike. This happened as the country recorded 236 new COVID-19 positive cases, while 5 people succumbed to the virus. Namkana Samuel, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Namikane Samuel. Moving on, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i earlier today led a host of professionals in eulogizing Nyamira County Governor John Nyagarama. ODM leader Raila Odinga in his speech ascribed the deceased as a champion of devolution. He also asked Kenyans to be united in incoming Governor John Nyaribo, saying that he will continue Nyagarama's track record on development. President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech, read by Dr. Fred Matiang'i, praised the work ethics shown by the late Nyagarama.
Each one of us, those who are traveling far and near.
He was a down-to-earth, humble man who would say, Wamalwa, wewe kuja nyumbani.
Whenever he saw me, he just started laughing. And they would ask me, yeah, Mointo Maraga, why do lawyers think that they are the only people who are learned?
Governor Nyagarama was a passionate leader, especially about education, and worked to ensure that all children in Nyamira accessed quality education.
Nyagarama ni mtu mpole, mtu mungwana. Hana chuki na mtu yoyote. Anapenda mambo ya maendeleo. Tena yeye ni mtu ambaye vile wamesema peke yake anasema maneno machache sana.
May Nyagarama's soul rest in eternal peace. Over 20 families in Joska, Machakos County will spend this Christmas in the cold due to demolitions of their houses in a 40-acre piece of land they bought and have occupied for over 20 years. Police enforcing the demolition said they were acting on a court order which they did not show to the residents. The stranded residents say the demolitions come amid a case of ownership that is ongoing at the Machakos Low Courts. The area MCA Mutuani Ward, who was at the scene, said the demolitions are happening against the law as the police did not show any orders as pertaining the demolitions.
Iko na miaka 20 hapa. Wataenda wapi? Mtoto ako hapa amezaliwa na wiki 3. Wako nje hawana mahali ya kulala.
Sasa nimejenga na ninasikia itakuja hata kubomolewa. Sasa tutafanya nini? Hata Uhuru atusaidie.
Girl, nilikuwa msichana, siku hata nimejua mwanaume ana nini kwake. Na saa hii niko na watoto wawili na nikakuhamia hapa 2003. After the fracas nikakuja hapa 2003 na nikajenga nyumba na nikakuja na kijana wangu akiwa 2 years, today he's 19, na nikakuja na msichana wangu alikuwa 4 years, ako 21 sasa. Na ako na mjukuu, today I'm the latest shows in the city.
Where can we find justice? Ikiwa justice hatuwezi kuipata kwa makoti, justice inakuwa kwa mifuko ya watu. I think that is very wrong.
Ninaomba serikali ya Machakos ichukue hatua kali kwa watu hao ambao wamejichukulia sheria mkononi mwao na kubomoa nyumba za watu.
Elsewhere, coastal region tourism contributes a huge chunk of revenue to Kenya's economy, and with the Christmas holiday already taking shape, security has been beefed up in the coastal region, with thousands of visitors expected to flock the area this festive season.
Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata, in the company of the Coast Regional Police Commander Gabriel Musau, has said that all security arrangements have been put in place, with security personnel, including village elders, being put on high alert ahead of the Christmas and New Year holidays to ensure residents and visitors enjoy a peaceful and safe holiday season.
Kuna stahili kuangaliwa kiusalama, imeangaliwa. Polisi, vitengo vyao vyote, wazee wetu wa mtaa, wale maafisa wa ngao, yani machifu na manaibu wao, wote wako kazini na wanahakikisha kwamba yule mtu anayekuja Mombasa, yule anayekuja Lamu, Tana River, Kwale, Taita Taveta, Kilifi, yuko salama.
At the same time, Elungata has urged holidaymakers to strictly observe COVID-19 protocols and has underscored the importance of social distancing, especially at the beaches, entertainment joints and public transport vehicles, regular washing of hands with soap, sanitizing and wearing of masks in public places.
Si idara ya polisi tukishirikiana na NTSA tumehakikisha kwamba magari kutoka Voi mpaka Malindi mpaka Lamu, kwamba magari ile nabeba abiria, ile personal cars, zinafuata sheria ya kibarabara, na tunawahimiza wasiende mwendo wa kasi kwa sababu accidents mingi, ajali mingi za barabara zinatokea kwa sababu ya overspeeding.
Coast Regional Police Commander Gabriel Musau, on his part, has assured residents and visitors of their safety, with 500 prison wardens being deployed to work with other security personnel during the festive season. The police boss has urged bar owners and other entertainment joint owners to ensure total adherence to COVID-19 protocols and close their establishments by 10 p.m. in line with the Ministry of Health guidelines.
Anayekuja hapa kumbuke kwamba barakoa ni lazima akiwa katika maeneo ya umma, na lazima weke ile inaitwa social distancing, asikubali kujazwa ndani ya matatu, na pia asiende kwa beach kujazana kule, kama anagundua kwamba beach imejaa watu, yeye aende kwingine.
The Regional Police Commander has reiterated that police will work closely with the National Transport and Safety Authority in the enforcement of traffic regulations, saying public service vehicles and other motorists should avoid reckless driving during the festive period.
Hii sheria ya curfew kwa eneo letu lote tumehakikisha kwamba ikifika saa 4 curfew order inafuatwa. Hatutaki kuona watu kwa barabara, magari kwa barabara. Bars na restaurants na other eateries zinatakiwa kufungwa saa 3. Na tumeambia wananchi na wanafuata hiyo.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on tourism, with the number of visitors frequenting the coastal region being low compared to previous years, with the economy expected to recover in 2021. Lilian Maina, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Lillian Miner, for that story. Moving on, 23.6% of Kenyans, according to a study by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, have witnessed or had cases of domestic violence in their communities since the COVID-19 containment measures came into force. And there's still not enough data to show how sexual gender-based violence has worsened. Mastercard Foundations has partnered with women's rights groups to address the rising cases of sexual gender-based violence, a step towards ensuring a resilient recovery for GBV survivors. Our reporter Harriet Chimer files the report.
Violence is a daily reality for women and girls in Kenya, and it has worsened in this COVID-19 era. We are here in Kibera as we delve into the life of these survivors.
Nikasikia tu mtu amenigonga kwa shingo na nikapoteza fahamu. Then sikujua what happened, sikujua venye nilijipata kwa place nyingine ama mashamba zingine hapo hivyo. Mimi nilipata fahamu wakati hao watu wametake advantage kwangu, and wakanifunga mikono, miguu na mdomo. So mimi after wamemaliza kunirape ndio nilishtukia, nilirudisha fahamu wakati walinishika nywele, wakiniingiza kwa maji, wakinitoa, wakanitupa kwa mtaro mwingine hapo hivyo, akasema huyu tumemmaliza.
Fighting back tears, she shares that her deal is far from over.
Hao watu walinirape na wakuniacha hivyo. Wakarudi wakachukua chupa wakaniingiza huko chini. Alafu wakarudi nikiwa pale hospitali, daktari akaniambia haji kama nitaweza kusurvive this.
Now HIV positive, living from hand to mouth and having a paralyzed mom, she bravely shares her story with gratefulness to Center for Rights Education and Awareness and Mastercard Foundation for aiding her with funds for operation and medication and offering counseling services that have come a long way in her recovery journey.
We have funds that have been made available where survivors can be given in-kind support. In-kind support is this financial support that is given and with no expectations, so that we can help our survivors to just stand in their feet.
In Majengo, Nairobi County, a 27-year-old single mother of 2 narrates that after 5 years in marriage, things turned sour.
This year, nikiwa na mimba, mzee alianza tu behaviors ka change to since January, but March nilijifungua. Toka operation unapigwa vita, hakuna kitu hata matusi ingine, yani vitu zingine una fail. It's like nini imehappen, but watu ujaribu kuongelesha mtu mpaka nikaita watu wao, nothing ali change. Alikuwa so abusive sana.
Being chased away with a month-old baby, struggling to fend for her children in a poverty-stricken area where dust prevails more and it is every man for themselves. She, Wangui, not her real name, is determined not to look back.
Kriwa linisaidia sana. Mali walinitoa, singejitoa. And nilianza a job. Mi hufanya upika and nazungusha mpaka nilipata watu wenye napelekea chakula.
The National GBV Hotline 1195 received 810 cases this year in September compared to 646 cases in August, an increase of 25%.
and that is exclusive of the non-reported cases.
In a month before COVID, we will roughly see like 20 cases of GBV. But from the time COVID was declared, that was in March, we receive as much as 90 in a month.
The siren is loud that it is high time to speak. And it is up to me and you to stop gender-based violence. Harriet Chimea, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Indeed, we shall not be silenced. Thank you, Harriet Chimea and Mastercard Foundation. With that story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube, we are live as Switch TV News. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wimbogo. The year 2020 has been one roller coaster ride, more so because the COVID-19 pandemic, which has shaken the very foundations of the world, affecting all sectors non-indiscriminately. Closer home, the corridors of justice have not been an exception. Our very own Lillian Minor brings us the 2020 roundup from our courts.
The dawn of the year 2020 was met with great expectations from people who hoped that this year will bring forth good tidings, even as some of them jotted down the New Year's resolutions. Business was as usual in the courts, leading up to April, when the nationwide shutdown of courts began to take effect due to concerns over the spread of COVID-19. For the next few months, court buildings will be more of abandoned structures, devoid of the usual beehive of activities. However, in June, the news of Kenya's undoubtedly most significant corruption case success involving Sirisia MP John Waluke, who was found guilty in a 297 million maize fraud case, lit up the courts. He was fined an amount adding up to 1.04 billion with an alternative prison term of 67 years. As the dust settled, the Director of Public Prosecutions, in conjunction with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, began executing Friday arrest and arraignment of high-profile graft suspects, infamously known as Kamata Friday, with governors being the worst hit.
In the contract between the Migori County government and
In a dramatic turn of events, Migori Governor Okoth Obado, a familiar face along the corridors of justice, was arrested alongside his 4 children, followed by his other counterparts, the Rakanithi Governor Muthomi Njoki, Garissa Governor Ali Korane, and former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. The besieged governors rushed to court, greatly rattled, to seek protection and security of their jobs, alleging that they were being unfairly targeted under the guise of fighting graft. In October, one of the most perplexing rulings in case history was made by the Kenya Employment and Labor Relations Court in a case involving the former Youth and Gender PS Lillian Omolo, who was awarded 1 shilling for unfair dismissal, as the amount was considered adequate for the former PS, who was found in possession of 33 million alleged to have been proceeds of crime. The Westgate Mall terror attack in 2013 left deep scars imprinted on the nation, where 67 lives were lost. This year, 2 suspects were sentenced to 33 and 18 years in prison for their involvement in the massacre, which didn't sit too well with the survivors, who felt that the sentence did not make up for those atrocities. The climax of it all is the retirement of Chief Justice David Maraga, the head of the judiciary and president of the Supreme Court, who made history when he nullified the 2017 general election results, a move which was deemed very unpopular.
Consequence, the presidential election of the 26th October is hereby upheld, as is the election of the 3rd respondent.
The curtain has now fallen on his 4-year tenure, during which he was loved and hated in equal measure for his firm stand on various issues. It is also during his tenure that the implied strained relationship between the judiciary and executive became very glaring. The clearly frustrated Chief Justice openly called out President Kenyatta over his failure to appoint the 41 judges recommended to him by the Judicial Service Commission, leading to the near crippling of the justice system.
Requires you to appoint judges recommended to you by the JSC, which you have refused to do. The laws of this country include valid court orders. It therefore behoves you to appoint the 41 judges recommended for appointment by the JSC as ordered by the court without any further delay.
A few weeks later, he dropped another bombshell by advising the president to dissolve parliament over the failure to implement the 2/3 gender principle. However, he has time and again clarified that he holds nothing personal against the head of state.
To our president, wherever you are, it is clear there is a difference of opinion between me and you. But I want to assure you and the entire nation that have nothing personal against you.
Despite the controversies and squabbles, he will be remembered for viciously fighting to uphold the rule of law and independence of the judiciary, impressive digitization of the judiciary through case tracking systems, digitization of case records, online court sessions, automation of court proceedings, e-filing systems, clearing of a big chunk of case backlog, as well as the opening and refurbishment of more than 22 courts across the country and more than 60 operational mobile courts. All eyes are now on the succession politics at play, even as the nation awaits the next Chief Justice, who will either continue with David Maraga's legacy or chart a new path for themselves. For Switch TV, I'm Lillian Minor.
Thank you, Lillian Minor. Different people have recounted the good and bad moments they lived during the year and what they hope for 2021. Kenyan barber Onesmus Muthoi was left staring at an empty shop in 2020 as customers fled the capital Nairobi when COVID-19 arrived. It is a year that has seen him struggling to find a way to survive. In South Africa, fisherwoman Fatima van der Woestersen lost a big chunk of her income due to the decrease in exports after the pandemic hit.
Actually, the situation was very tough. Remember, when there was this disease of the coronavirus. Actually, the job ilikuwa too down maze nashika. Therefore, the situation was very tough. Yeah, the situation will resume normal course. I hope by next year the coronavirus will have to end in God's will. We have learned a lot because remember this year hii mwaka mazee ijakuwa poa mazee. Hata sometimes ilikuwa hata kupata food ni noma unashika. So nakuwa tu ni kustruggle ndio tuone vile tutasurvive, but I hope by next year it will be better. Naweza mwambia ni poa wakati nafanya job ni poa kuinvest cause sometimes inafika time yenye afanye job sasa ile kuinvest na invest itamsaidia. Si kama sisi ile tupata kama hatuko aware. Sasa ile tupata off guard na life imekuwa hard lakini tulingangana tu tukatoboa.
My life was cut down to the point of where COVID-19 started in March, and due to COVID, our quotas was also decreased from 523 to 155 per kilo per person individual. And as this is our only livelihood of income, fishing from the sea to the house to put something on the table, we were actually caught off guard this season with the cage that was decreased from our previous kilos. So there was a big impact where COVID came in because the companies from overseas that took our fish didn't want it anymore because of the airlines. It was cut closed. There was no exporting done. All the exporting was closed at a certain point. Advice that I could give them is just like to be a bit stronger than what it is like now. Previous, we were strong fisherwomen and men. Nothing kept us from going. We were there, we forced our way even through the storm. But now as 2020 struck us, we could do nothing. We were just sitting backwards and taking everything as it came.
And from the sports desk, former Tottenham manager Mauricio Pochettino is the main contender to take over at Paris Saint-Germain after Thomas Tuchel's departure. Sources reveal that PSG's players have been told that the Argentine will be joining the club. Talks between PSG and Pochettino started at least 2 weeks ago. It continued their brilliant form by thrashing Everton 2-0 in an enticing EFL Carabao Cup fixture. The Seoul United's goal, hammered in by Edison Cavani at the 88th minute before Anthony Martial placed in a decent finish at extra time.
alongside Manchester City, Tottenham and Championship outfit Brentford. Two strong sides put out by Carlo Ancelotti and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The visitors